So now that Belle's Let's Talk Day has passed and all the sort of noise on social media has subsided, I thought it was a good opportunity to talk to you about the day and the initiative. I thought it was great, of course, that Belle raises this kind of money to donate to various mental health initiatives, but there is something about the Let's Talk Day that irks me. And maybe it's the fact that there are stories circulating of the large media companies' employees who have not been treated with the same kindness and understanding as they encourage on that day. Or maybe it's the fact that it seems a lot of people sort of were just retweeting without really thinking about what they were saying and the message that they were saying. Our state of mental well-being is super important, just as our physical well-being is. Keeping your mental health in check is crucial. However, there is a huge difference between keeping your mental health in check and someone who has been diagnosed with a mental illness. And that line seems sort of blurred during this whole day. And I wish that there was a little more clarification as to what some of those illnesses are, because many people out there, yeah, they do have a bad day or feeling down or having the winter blues or whatever. But that's so different than someone who has been medically diagnosed with having bipolar disorder or anxiety or depression or OCD or PTSD or an eating disorder, for example. Those who are really experiencing that mental health disorder need to actually be on some form of medication and be seeing and talking to a professional therapist. Because just sharing a hashtag saying, let's talk, yeah, it can raise awareness and that's great, but there is so much more that should have been said. And that's kind of what bothered me the most. And if you want to take it to a personal level, sure, retweeting this message is great, but are you checking on that friend who's being treated for bipolar disorder? Are you really listening to your friend who has severe depression? Are you acting on those thoughts and not just saying, hey, I'm here to talk whenever you want, reach out? No, are you taking initiative to reach out? Because I'll tell you, let's talk doesn't help someone who needs to see a therapist right away, but whose only option is to wait 6 months. Let's talk is not going to help that person who can't afford to pay for a private therapist because they cost $200 an hour before he or she has an appointment with an OHIP covered therapist. And if you're really struggling, how are you going to survive 6 months? Did you know that people who go to an Ontario emergency room after a suicide attempt have to wait 6 months before they actually see a therapist? So there needs to be a lot more than just talk. Also, if you happen to have medical insurance and you get to see a private therapist at $200 a visit, do you know that your insurance is also capped? So your insurance may only cover a few visits, a handful of visits in a year. And if you're suffering from a severe disorder, mental health disorder, a handful of visits isn't going to really help you either. So this is my only issue. Sharing a hashtag is great, but it's really not going to help those people who are really suffering and can't afford the cost of medication and can't afford therapy. That's what we need to talk about.